empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. For more information on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, Dr. Ashandra Batiste understands that one of the biggest obstacles is dental fear. The vision at Elite Dental Wellness is to ensure every patient is treated with respect, ultimate care, patience, and love. Call us today to make an appointment at area code 713-789-8680. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Society Now, a show that endeavors to bring you riveting content that invokes, incites, and inspires. This is not fake news. This is Society Now. I'm your host, Kira Laws, and you can follow me on Instagram at TheModernDayCindy, and I have my handsome co-host with me.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your man, Kaylin Laws, a.k.a. Senor Wapo. Do me a quick favor. Go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to whatever social media platform you're on, because I'm on all of them. And follow me at Senor Wapo 713. That's SENORGUAPO 713. And I'm excited to be with everyone listening and tuning in. We got a great show today, Miss Kira, baby girl. We got a great show today. You know, there comes a time when, you know, you go through life and, you know, you connect with people, you make relationships, you go about your day to really just make the best relationships possible. And so, and you meet people along the way. When you meet these folks and you meet these persons, there are people that are memorable, and then there are people that are not so memorable, and then there are people who you just can't get rid of, right? And so, one of our guests today is one of those persons who we just can't get rid of. It was funny how she and I met. We met in graduate school. Her name is Stephanie Farris. Stephanie, what up?
What up, Kira, Kaylin?
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. We met. South Boys, what up, Kira, Kaylin? You know, it was funny how we met. It's dope how we met. We met in graduate school, in Dr. O's class. And Dr. Olonolua Olumide, right? Getting statistics going. But what was funny is my screensaver was my wife. And we were sitting next to each other. And you said, oh, my God, is her name Kira? Oh, my God, I remember her grandmother's. We used to write each other. It was whatever, something, Watson.
10755 Watson Place.
Excuse me. See how
Get
that
it together.
Know it.
Get it together.
My bad. And so
you're not a historian unless you know that.
Right.
Know your history.
I can't remember the number. I don't know why. But it sounds like a movie to me. Like
it should be.
The stories you done told me, it wasn't.
Jesus. Please help, God. Lord,
but
help.
You know, everything comes back full circle. You guys grew up together. You know, we forged a relationship based upon school and kept it in contact over the years. And then we've all reconnected yet again here on with your platform.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about the social butterfly. Isn't that dope, baby?
Yeah, it is. And I think it's really amazing because when you see like how we've all grown up and evolved and become this like very individualistic, but still on our little paths, like the creative energy is there. And you never know. You think about, okay, how was I as a child, and thinking about how we've evolved, you know what I mean? And just seeing people come full circle. I think that's really amazing.
It is.
So I would like to know from you, like, who is Stephanie now? Like, who is Stephanie the woman? How do you feel about you now? Full circle, where are you now? How do you feel about you? How would you describe yourself?
Very good question. First of all, thank you and Kaylin so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. So who is Stephanie? Stephanie is the person who I am who I've always been at my core, and that's a person who loves people. I've always, Kira and I, like Kaylin said, went to school together. We're childhood best friends, and just always enjoyed being around people. Part of it was I probably because I was an older sibling. I had a younger brother. We're 6 years apart, but I just always enjoyed helping people, being there for people. And the Stephanie that you see today is just that little girl who grew older and realized who she was, who she is, who she's becoming, who she can be, and just excited about making a difference in the world and helping other people do the same.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love that.
So your company is the Social Butterfly Agency. How did that name come about? What is it all about? Tell us more about it.
So the name, honestly, it really was God-given. Down to the spelling, SOUL. And I think what that stems from is that anything that I do it with my soul, with the heart and passion that is needed, whether that's being there for family, friends, just anything I do, I really put my soul into it as best I can. And how I came about, how the company came about, really it stemmed from one of my friends was doing a party or something, and so I was like, oh, let me know, what I can do to help. And so she was like, okay. And so she was telling me all the things she needed, and she was like, so how much do I owe you? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she was like, no, what do I owe you? And I was like, you don't owe me anything. And she was like, Stephanie, I'm going to pay you something. But she was like, I want you to know, like, you could really make a business out of this. And I was like, make a business out of doing what? And initially when it started, it was, or I thought it was, concierge services. When you visit a 5-star hotel, you have a concierge, and the concierge takes care if you want to go, do fine dining or go to a show, or they handle that for you and make the reservations and all that. So initially, that's how it started out. Over time, though, it evolved into what is now the Social Butterfly Agency. And really, we serve and support high-end coaches, accomplished authors, influencers, CEOs. We are the lifeline between them and their various platforms. So we work with a lot of speakers doing road management and personal concierge services. I won't say personal assistant, because when you're a personal assistant, you're typically dedicated to one person. But the way that God has just so blessed me is that I'm able to really serve and support various people, mostly women, in doing what they do. So, yeah.
So you said that you work with a lot of different types of people in different industries. You also mentioned that most of them are established or accomplished. Do you offer your service to those who are starting off?
Oh, absolutely. I really like working with the hidden gems.
Okay.
Those who are emerging, just getting started, and being able to be, a lifeline and support to them as they're evolving and growing. And so, yes, absolutely. Because I know what it's like to kind of be the underdog or kind of feel like you're a little behind the curve, but those always make for some of the best clients to me.
Absolutely. So tell me something else. So with the soul, I'm emphasizing soul.
Right.
I feel like that butterfly part is the emergence part, like that beautification, that coming out part. Is that the part of having this company that really gives you joy, is to seeing like the end result, the evolution? Is that it, or is it the day-to-day handling and managing? What is it about the company that you love the most?
For me, it's being able to just show up and, as I say, and handle it, whatever that it may be. Like you said, like I said, I work with a lot of different people, speakers, authors who have really, are highly visible, have a lot going on, and it's never the same. It's always evolving. You know, it's not cookie cutter, and a lot, you know, you have to be flexible. You have to be, a lot of times you have to be on, but not so on that, you know, I can't be off. But people really call on me to handle things because they know that I will do whatever I need to do to get it taken care of, even if it means relying on other, external resources, other friends, people. But they know that it'll get handled. So for me, just the day-to-day, just how it evolves and how it's ever changing is what really keeps me going.
So it sounds like to me you're like the corporate Olivia Pope without the scandal. Is that maybe not even corporate, but kind of on some, you know, you get it done. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. I was just with my my client Dee Marshall, hosted her When Rock Rule event this past Wednesday in New Jersey, and one of the posts that she did, she referenced, you know, the butterfly. She's my COO. She calls me her COO, the chief of order. She's like, she gets things handled. She's the Olivia Pope. So it's funny that you would make that reference, because to be an Olivia Pope, you got to be one bad mama jamma. And so I do the Olivia Pope thing on my level, and it works for me.
That's good. That's what's up. Now, you also mentioned about, you do a lot, but you also might have to bring in other persons. How important is partnership to your company? How important is it to keep it thriving? What sustainability? Tell us more about that.
Partnership, relationships are key, and you and Kaylin can attest to this. No man is an island, and you truly cannot do things on your own. I don't even want to try to do things on my own. I mean, even here today, I have one of my ride or dies who's with me, all the time. I know I can always call on Christy, no matter what. I remember a couple of years ago, the Boss Network, Kamika Smith with the Boss Network had an event here, and I mean, literally from helping to find a venue to getting volunteers to, literally down to Kamika was like, man, I wish I had some pearls to wear. So I'm texting the other millionaires, and Chrissy's like, I got a pair in my car. And so, just being able, knowing that you have people that you can go to, that you don't have to go at it alone, is really, really, it's empowering. It's a blessing.
I mean, we were just talking about that, stuff like that today. We literally, and that's a beautiful thing, to be able to have those connections that you can rely on. Mm-hmm. That really is a beautiful thing.
So tell me more. Tell me something else about you that other people might not know, like some of the things that you're really passionate about, like causes and community things, like things that are really outside of just the Social Butterfly Agency. What are some of the things that you're passionate about?
So one thing that I'm really passionate about is all things women, for the most part. But to narrow it down, domestic violence is something that I'm very, very passionate about. Homelessness, children, infants. One organization that here in Houston that I really, really support, and it's very near and dear to my heart, is the Diaper Foundation. And Hope Ewing is the founder of that. And when I stumbled upon the Diaper Foundation, just realizing that there are so many infants that sometimes have to wear the same diaper for like days on end. And to hear how she started the organization, and at the time, my nephew and niece were born, and I remember, stepping in to help provide for diapers, and they're expensive. And I couldn't ever fathom my nieces and nephew having to wear the same diaper 2, 3, 4, or 5 days. And so that's definitely another cause that I'm passionate about. And just really empowering, motivating, supporting women, supporting just people in general. That's me.
I totally get it, because I'm like, diapers are an expense. And we recently had a shower, and we was like, please bring diapers. We're not trying to clothe the child forever. We just want a diaper and a wipe.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Because people bring a diaper. Can you bring a wipe?
Absolutely.
Because wipes are necessary.
Like peanut butter and jelly. You can't have
you can't. You really can't.
So I totally get that, and I totally understand, because I think that's one of the things we don't think about. It's the same thing with when you think about women's shelters. We don't think about the hygiene needs. We always think about clothes and shoes. We always have drives for that, but we don't think about sanitary things and hygiene needs. It seems like those are things that we do every day. we take for granted. We take those things for granted because we're always trying to push the agenda of getting people into the, I guess, the workforce or stuff like that. So we always overlook necessity and need. And I know you talk about this all the time. You said that, you learn that if a person's needs aren't met, you really can't meet their needs.
You can't.
You can't. I mean, and needs as on a basic
Maslow
level. Like
absolutely.
Can
Come
you
on,
meet
Maslow.
Can you meet
Abraham
their needs?
Maslow, social scientist.
I mean,
know.
Come on. And if you can't meet that need, you're not going to get anything done. They're not even hearing you.
They're not. They're not.
And their families can't even buy into what you're saying. So I'm so glad that you're supporting like women's and also children and infants, because that's so important to our community.
And speaking of our community, what else is very, very important to our community, and that's economic empowerment and economic viability. And as such, this portion of the show is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. Did you know that only 4 states in the United States offer financial education? 33% or more than 77 million Americans don't pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults say they don't have enough savings. Don't become one of these statistics. Let Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal financial strategy. Contact Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email us at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com and ask how you can participate in a complimentary, that means free, financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance are the new faces of the new age of financial services.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's one thing we don't talk about enough. I mean, we talk about it. We talk about it especially now because we have social media. So everybody's looking at ways to generate more than one stream of income. And that's always a conversation. But we don't talk about managing the income you already have.
See, that's a big one right there.
That's a big one. Like, how do you manage what you already have? And of course, there's some situations where you just are on a shoestring budget and you are doing month to month or listen. Your mouth to hand to mouth, you're just making it happen and you have to deal with it. But just even having the education for planning for the future when you know that, or you're expecting or you're believing for, extra resources, having these women out here helping out. That's beautiful. So tap into it. Free consultation can't hurt. It just can't hurt.
Don't be afraid to let somebody in your business.
You know what? That's one of the problems that, especially we as African Americans do, is we're transparent with a lot of stuff. But boy, when it comes to those finances, we shut down, we get quiet, and I don't know what it is.
Well, I think it's just generational. I think a lot of us have been told, like, you don't talk about your business outside of this house. True. So you'll see a struggle inside a home, but when people leave out the house, they do their best to not look like they're struggling.
That's true.
And that doesn't necessarily mean they're going buying a lot of stuff. They just don't talk about need, which then goes into a certain type of pride. Not like you're walking around boast, that type of pride, but just you won't ask for help or you won't show up when help is offered as if you're going to be put on a list, you know what I mean? Like, and called out. This is a very weird dynamic, but I think this generation, our generation, and the generations coming behind us are starting to break that because we're so transparent and everyone sees everything. I think that's the start, right? People start seeing that. So that's the start, and everybody wants to get there, right? So you can't get there without help.
You can't.
That's why the social butterfly exists, right?
That's one of the reasons why we exist.
So Kaylin said that you and him went to school together, in grad school. So you have to tell us more about your background, and I think you should. This is not my area. I don't know anything about policy and government, so y'all have to have this conversation. So what's going on here? Well, your background is in policy and government.
I know you've been in management spaces a lot, but for a minute you were really, really heavy in local government, right? And then we studied policy and government together. Right. So how did you transition from like the government space, that nonprofit space, that NGO space into entrepreneurship? Because a lot of people, even though they are closely connected, don't see the correlation.
Right. Well, for me, even going to grad school and getting my MPA, Master's in Public Administration, I was like, I didn't even know what that was at first. And a guy that I was dealing with at the time, he was like, you're really big on supporting.
Dealing or dating? I'm petty. Keep going.
We're gonna say dealing,
She had to handle him, y'all. No, I'm just messing with him.
dating, dealing.
Because I thought it was a weird choice of words. I was like, dealing or dating? Wait, where are we going with this conversation?
A guy that I was somewhat involved with.
Okay.
At the time.
Okay, I love it. I had to go.
I
I
hope
had
you
to
watch
catch
it
it.
whole because you ain't getting no play, bro.
Was like, you know what, Stephanie,
got
you're
dealt.
very passionate about helping, organizations, and you want to save the world. You should really think about getting your MPA. And at the time, I was working at the city of Houston. And so I was like, oh, okay. And then when I realized that I could do like the human resources track, which is what I was really heavily involved with, because I'm really big on the people aspect. I think in every sector, nonprofit, public sector, private sector, the people have to know that they matter, and they have to know that HR is not just about hiring and firing, but that HR really can be for the people. And I wanted to learn more about that side of it, so that wherever I went, I could take my experiences and my knowledge and help foster that in a at a corporation or organization. So it was never really about I'm not a big political type person. I know enough to dabble and have some type of intelligent conversation about it. But really, for me, it was just expanding my knowledge base and learning something different, being open to learning something different. And that's when I met the wonderful Kaylin, and I mean, he really helped me through grad school, and so I'm very appreciative.
Well, listen, and we're appreciative too. You talked about people and that people element, and I think Kira and I, we hinge everything that we do on people. And here at the Sphere, we want to talk to a couple of people as well. That's our Facebook Live family. We need you to subscribe to our show now. It's on all the major platforms: iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. And review our show in iTunes with constructive feedback. Be nice. Share this Facebook Live post and the entire show with your family and friends. And we need your coin. You hear me? We need your coin. Donate to this mission to bring enriched and inspiring content each and every week. You can donate at www.thesphere.tv/. That's the one that links to the right. Donate. All right. Well, shout out to artist Garrett Walker, Angela Robinson. Who else we have on here? Everybody that tuned in, we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Go check out the episode in a couple of days when it becomes live. But you can go subscribe right now. We'll see you soon.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's so much other stuff to dip into, but I want to make sure that we extend this moment to actually give honor to who honor is due, because you are really doing a lot. I've always seen, well, since we've reconnected, you're busy, you're on the go all the time, and it's never a time that you're not doing something and have your hand in something. But throughout your travels, I feel like you have to keep your ear to the street. So what's next for your agency? What do you see on the horizon for your agency and for yourself? It could be long, it could be short.
Come on now. Cast that vision. You hear me?
So one
Speak
of
the
the
word.
things I'm working on is launching my book.
Awesome. We love it. Y'all keep your ears out for that.
Yes. It will be released in November.
Amen, sister.
Which is
we
my
got a
birthday.
date. That's
yes,
what's up.
Yes, which is my birthday month. And so I'm going to release that. And then for me as a whole, it's just I'm always just in a space where I'm wanting to learn, to continue to grow, meet people. From an agency standpoint, I'm really looking to really grow the agency, so bring on additional support, because I know as the chief butterfly, I can't just be everywhere all the time.
Listen, them wings get tired, don't they?
The wings get tired. And so, definitely looking to expand the business in that way. And just, I really believe that it could be a global entity. And so, I'm just excited, and I'm open to however God wants to move. I'm just really giving him free range to be the creative director of, not just my business, but my life, in terms of from a relationship standpoint to eventually perhaps having kids, and just everything, whatever it is that he wants for me, I want it.
I know that's
I want it
right. You
all.
better say it. You better listen. You better, if that's what you want, you better say that's what you want. Okay.
Want it
Be-
all.
Let's write that thing down. It'll happen. It'll happen. Okay. So with all of this, I feel like what you do is so interconnected to everything that's happening in the world today. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people need someone. They need that person or that agency, that company to actually look out for stuff. I know you don't necessarily handle the PR space, but in a lot of ways, you're dealing with the public on behalf of the clients that you deal with. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is just what's going on in society now, because that's what the show is, right? Society now.
I love it.
So one of the things, okay, so the past few weeks, we saw a lot of things happen. We saw the Florida shooting. We saw the response of the youth on the ground from the high school in Parkland, Florida. You know, they've been very active, very vocal about what's happening. I mean, organizing. That, you know, we've seen marches and all kind of things, the stuff that, you know, I don't think our mass population could even imagine could happen, but you saw that, you know, you saw them speak out. You saw their voices. They raised their voices. One of the students from Parkland, his name is David Hogg, and apparently David Hogg has an issue with one of the Fox News anchors. Her name is Laura Ingraham, and in this situation, Laura Ingraham made it a point to talk about, she hasn't been the best person on Fox. With Fox is Fox, so it is what it is. She fat shamed Meghan McCain. She made a Nazi salute at the 2016 RNC convention. She retweets Nazis, made homophobic comments. She's the same person that told LeBron James and Kevin Durant that need to pretty much be quiet.
Yeah, shut up and stick the basketball.
Shut up and dribble is what she said.
Yeah, that's exactly
what she said. So recently, David Hogg made a point to say that, you know, some of the schools he applied to, he didn't get in. And she tweeted like, well, oh my gosh, you know, what a big thing. Of course, he didn't get in. He was rejected when he applied, and he whines about it because of his GPA, totally predictable considering acceptance rates. Well, Hogg, the young man, a Parkland student again, went into action and called for advertisers to drop her. He was like, yeah, this is not the type of person y'all need to be sponsoring. And since he did that, she's been dropped by TripAdvisor, Expedia, Nestle, Wayfair, Liberty Mutual, Office Depot, Johnson & Johnson, the list goes on. Atlanta's Paradise Island, Bahamas. I mean, he's serious, because we don't realize the power of our voice. The power of our voice, right? It's this one student that was like, listen, if she's going to be doing this to people, I'm an innocent, I'm a child, and she's doing this to people that have a way bigger platform than me. You know, she needs to be reprimanded for this. And so she went on after that and made her false apology. Was like, oh, I'm sorry, that was very, you know, that wasn't nice. You know, he's welcome to come on here and we can have a discussion. And then he went back and said, I'm not about to go to her show and so she can use my platform to get her ratings up. Smart guy, right? So what more could we do? What could we learn from that as a community, even from a client or a company perspective about having voice in the right situations? What do y'all think about that? Because a lot of times we don't raise our voice on the right stuff. You know, we complain about a lot of, I'm gonna say small things, but there's issues like this where we actually have power and we take to the right platform, because apparently Twitter is the way to do it, because everybody's getting screwed on Twitter.
Twitter's dangerous, man. I think
I don't play on Twitter like that, so I need to maybe start visiting Twitter.
You should
more.
Probably. I don't either.
I think that Twitter, but I think that, you know, from a company standpoint or from a you know, a client, a corporation standpoint, you have to understand your position and know how and where you position first. You know, I think this young man, David Hogg, he's an articulate young man. He's an intelligent. He got a 4.1 GPA. I mean, come on, he's an intelligent young man. But he understands, like, the fact that he's a 17-year-old kid talking about, I'm not gonna let this established journalist use my platform. He understands his position, and I think especially in the community, in the black community, we have to understand our position as consumers, right? We have to understand our position as policymakers. We have to understand our position as business owners, and it's way bigger than just our address or our bloodline. You know what I'm saying? It's us as a people, and when we understand it, I think we can have that kind of power that this young man is exercising, because we do have it.
And I think even more than that, you spoke on it. Sometimes, I mean, we talk about this all the time, but it's very rare that we actually act on it. We've seen, I guess, petitions to boycott certain companies because we know we spend so much money. We spend trillions, right, dollars on, on just as the largest consumers, but we don't actually mobilize on it enough.
Right.
Even when the NFL boycott was going on, it was really disheartening for me to see how many people were still showing up for games. And I'm like, this could be your child that's is being treated this way. And you're still like, well, I'm so-and-so till I die. I'm going to go to the game. I don't care about that. I'm like, no, but this is bigger than that. It's bigger than, you attending the game or whatever. And this is, I don't here or there, but it's just, it's an example. We as consumers, we don't realize our position, and we don't know how much, how influential we are until it's something that feels good to us. Reference Black Panther. You know what I'm saying? So we can shoot that movie through the sky and it can $1 billion and all that, but when it comes to something, if it don't feel good to let go of, we don't let go of it.
Right.
And we're not willing to walk away from it. Like, as a company owner, how often do you experience that with maybe some of your clients when you're like maybe giving them really good advice and they're like, well, they're not really ready to make certain moves? Or do you experience stuff like that when you're like, well, you might not want to do this. This might not be good for you. Do you experience anything like that?
Thankfully, I have not experienced that. Most of the clients that I work with, are in that space where they recognize their power, their positioning, their platform, and they, when it comes to certain things, based on their platform, they advocate for those things. And so they have no problem, using their voice and their platform to address and bring awareness to certain issues. So thankfully, that's not something that I have had to encounter. To your point about, the sad thing is it's almost like a catch-22. We do know our power, but like you said, we use it a lot of times on the wrong things in the wrong way, versus taking our power and our voice and really channeling it towards those things, those efforts, those causes that can really leverage, and bring about significant change and reform and things like that. And so one of the things that's the one thing that I do like about this upcoming generation, this generation that's coming up. It's almost like they're going back to the days of the who do I want to say, like your Stokely Carmichaels and your MLKs. I mean, they're really realizing that they do have a voice and that their voice does matter. And, just like with the young man, he realized, I may be 17 years old. This woman, she may be on national TV and have this platform, but I have a right to express how I feel. And it wasn't just about how he feels. There was truth in what he was saying. And the fact that he wasn't scared to go out there and speak about it. And then, like you said, it's now a lot of corporations have pulled her from their platforms, and I think that's important. I
don't think people realize or understand the power of brand management. And sometimes when you get these platforms, you have to always think about my brand and how my brand is connected to a bigger picture of my brands that's supporting me. But we'll talk about that in a second. But this portion of our show is sponsored by Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, our vision is to create a welcoming practice that will offer exceptional dental care and a lifetime of dental wellness. We're committed to the finest possible oral care and the overall health and well-being of our patients. Elite Dental Wellness is built on a foundation of integrity, expertise, and service. Through our commitment to modern dentistry, continuing education, and a friendly atmosphere, we strive to make our patients feel that they are a part of our family. Dentistry can be scary, daunting, and uncomfortable. Dr. Batiste and her team work tirelessly to ensure her comfort. Make your appointment today by calling Dr. Ashandra Batiste at Elite Dental Wellness at 713-789-8680. Again, the number is 713-789-8680. And that's dead air.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. I'm sorry. But
that's dead air.
You just gotta smile.
So going along with what's going on with that particular conversation and understanding the power of your brand and even understanding the messages that are shown, a lot of people right now are scrambling to preserve their image. A lot of people, a lot of entities, a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, on a local level, a national level. We're seeing it even in just recently. We saw what happened with the police officer in the Alton Sterling case. He was acquitted, and then like a day or two later, now we're finding out that same police officer has been fired. It's unfortunate because, firing him post the acquittal of the charges is not necessarily the answer to what people really wanted. They wanted to see justice, right? The police commissioner said that he hopes that this will aim to heal. In what situations will this actually aim to heal? Because you guys had this evidence the whole time.
Right.
This cell phone, this camera footage was always there. It was always available. So how now, right now that it's available to the public, is this supposed to be the remedy for the issue, the firing of the police officer?
So I was having a discussion last weekend about this, and one thing that was brought to light, and please, you know this better than I do, Kira, is the civil claim that they have, because the question that I had was, if the officer Salamone was fired for breaking policy, breaking the rules, and breaking protocol as an officer of the law for that department in Baton Rouge. But he necessarily didn't break the law, right? You see what I'm saying? According to what the law is. But he broke procedure. And so a criminal judge or a civil judge that I was speaking to was like, this is a slam dunk for them civilly to get paid, because he actually, it's documented that the chief said, and then everybody else that at IAB or whoever was saying that he infringed upon this man's rights civilly, because he literally did not follow protocol and the rules. So that's why he was fired. Right. And so bring about healing. Man, listen, their brother, their son, their uncle, their cousin, he's gone. That hole, only God can fill that hole. But there is, I think, trying to think ahead, potentially some sort of solace that can be, obtained, because according to this judge that I spoke to this Saturday, she was like, in her eyes, from what she was reading, she hadn't seen the case notes, but from what she was reading on the article, she was like, it's a slam dunk. Like, this is easy to get a few $1 million payout.
But
because you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, maybe that's what he was referencing. Maybe he's hoping that they get an attorney. This is all conjecture, right? Get an attorney that says, oh wow, yeah, they broke it, so let's go. I don't know, but
Yeah, my thing is the healing. Like you said, a person is gone and can never come back, and there's no amount of money or anything that could ever bring them back. So. If they get a few million, okay, but their loved one is no longer here. And so when situations like this, happen, I think people, that's what's missing. You can't heal. You really can't heal from this. I mean, even if the officer wouldn't have gotten acquitted and was found guilty initially in the onset, there's still, hearts are still hurting. And like you said, that's something that only God's going to be able to handle and heal. But I do think that over time, just like with anything else, the family, those who, were affected, they will get to a place of where they can just continue to move on. But I think it's going to fuel their passion to become advocates, to make sure that this doesn't happen, that justice is served in the right way when these things come about.
I think it's just a really unfortunate situation, because I was going down my timeline yesterday on Instagram, and Diddy said it. He was like, on the New York, the Daily News in New York, the front cover was about the young man in Sacramento that was killed, and he was like, this is crazy, pretty much, and he posted it like 5 times with different comments underneath the thing. He was like, I'm tired, and the cover was pretty much saying another unarmed black man gets killed. And I go back to this story, I'm like, another unarmed You know, like at what point do we start addressing amount of force? At what point do we start saying adequate force? And I know we talked about this last week, and it seemed like it comes up so frequently, Caitlin. But we talk about the fact that so many people, you know, when we look at the case of the shooting that happened at the church, we look at the, you know, the Parklands, the shootings, and those that don't take their own life usually walk away in handcuffs, and they get their day in court.
Come on, man. Come on, talk about it.
And it's very terrible. I mean, it's disheartening to me, because I'm trying to figure out at what point have we been marked as such a threat that we have to that has to always go down with death. Not in, we talked about this. They don't have an obligation to maim. They don't have an obligation to injure. They're just supposed to stop the threat, but the stopping of the threat is always met with deadly force. And in this situation, when you hear things about, the cams that actually you can hear what they're saying, and it's none of it is, we just want to take you in and have a conversation. It's always a very escalated conversation where there's a lot of profanity being thrown around by the officers.
Mad,
aggressiveness, and I'm like, this man is obviously bigger than you. So the force that you're putting out at him is not necessary, because he wasn't aiming at a gun.
Right.
He wasn't trying to shoot you. So it just really makes you think about what's going on in the world today, that we feel like this is the way to deal with it. And it really is unsettling. So this is one of those things, like, if this is a path to making America great again, we on the wrong path. We need to reroute. Somebody needs to get another direction and put another address in the GPS. So this is not the way. It's not the way. And especially where we know that everything is being seen right now on social media. Like, nothing is hidden. People are seeing this, and it creates a very hypersensitive environment. Right. A very hypersensitive environment where we go to work feeling some type of way. You're creating a divisive society, right? Right. So it's really crazy. But my prayer is that not just healing, but conversations begin about how we actually create the right policies that people think about first, right, before they implement some of these harsh, aggressive tactics, because I don't think anyone's life needs to end that way unless they are creating a threat of violence towards you. That's just my personal opinion.
I'm looking and I'm reading the quote, excuse me, that the chief said. He says, I hope that it begins healing. And you stated that part, but the second part is, it actually pisses me off. We are moving forward as a police department.
What does that mean? It's like I'm like, what does that mean? Oh, so now I want you to, here it is. Now I need you to give me an executive summary. I need you to tell me what that means. I need you to talk about the issues. I need you to lay out
moving forward. This man lost his life.
Yeah,
because your guy broke the rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then the other guy, they said, did not do anything. He didn't shoot.
He actually tried to de-escalate the situation.
De-escalate the situation, but are they allowed to de-escalate by pulling them back? Can you like, hey man, you need to chill out? Can you throw your partner to the side? Like, are they allowed to do that and not look like they're turning on one another? I mean, because it's just a lot. I just feel like it's a lot of things that maybe they should encourage partners to do. Hey, if you see it getting out of hand, you have an obligation to make sure that it does not go this far. Right. If there is no threat of violence. Right. I just think that maybe I'm just being too optimistic. Maybe it's just me. But this is the cost of making America great again, along with some of the other things that are happening in the world. But before we talk about those things, let's talk about how amazing this network is that we're on.
Let them know.
Because this network that we're on is so amazing. And people need to know about The Sphere.
The Sphere.
This portion of the show is sponsored by The Sphere. Are you starting your business and looking for a place to advertise? Do you have a need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build your brand or sell your product? If so, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at The Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and so many more. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. Call us today at area code 832-772-7789 or send an email over to advertise@thesphere.tv. Again, the number is 832-772-7789 or advertise@thesphere.tv.
Come on now. Jump on this wave. You hear me? Jump on this wave.
The wave. This a wave. It's a was it a typhoon wave? Is it typhoon? It's a tsunami. It's a tsunami.
It's a tsunami. I used to call it General Soul's chicken, T-Soul's chicken when I was. So I'm gonna call it two tsunamis.
It's that T is silent.
I didn't know. I was a kid.
You gotta know that they don't have certain letter pronunciation.
Right, I had no idea.
In Asian countries.
I was a kid. I said, "Give me some T-Soul's chicken."
I'm done.
But they gave it to you though.
They showed it
because you weren't the first person that said it.
Right. I was.
And they weren't gonna argue with you because they want that coin.
Listen, that coin.
They about the coinage.
There's the coinage. They was like, I'm not about to tell this man it ain't that. I don't care if we're about to sell this T-Soul's chicken.
Give him what he wants.
And give him a double order
of T-Soul.
A T-Soul. So the cost of making America great again, it's coming at a really big cost for a lot of retailers.
Yeah, man.
A huge cost. In the past 15 days, the following stores have begun to make plans to close their doors, right? Okay, we've already heard about Toys R Us. They've already started their closing. Even you go to their website.
You can't even be a Toys R Us kid no
you
more.
Can't. And that's what I'm like, where exactly? What is happening, people? Because you go to the website, they won't even let you order anything, which to me, I was like, well, if you're going out of business, I would think that you would upload everything to the web and be like, okay, let's liquidate that way as well, right? The products. Nope. Not happening. It's not. You go to the website and they're like, we want you to just go visit a store and go to the store and buy stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's terrible.
And the founder died.
I don't think he would approve of this.
He recently passed away, like in the past couple of weeks, like shortly after the announcement. That's what they were saying. Like
man.
Yes.
That sucks. I didn't know
because
that.
it's a legacy.
Yeah.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Toys R Us kid.
Man.
Well, it's a lot of stores. Okay, so Toys R Us is liquidating and closing all their stores. Claire's is planning bankruptcy right now. They're closing their stores. K Jeweler, Jared's, and Zales are closing 200 stores.
We can't go to Jared now?
Jared's, that's the place where you're supposed to go get your ring.
K, Jared, and Zales closing 200 stores. And Taylor and Company closing 400 stores. Foot Locker, 110 stores. Mattress Firm, and you know there's a mattress store
weird,
in every
because everywhere
corner.
There's a mattress firm popping up.
But that's because we have a lot of residential, a lot of development going on here. But other cities and around the country, 110 stores. Buy Low, Winn-Dixie is closing 94 stores.
I grew up going to Winn-Dixie and DeSoto,
our favorite
Texas.
person, they didn't want to give up them coinage. Abercrombie and Finch is closing 60 stores. You might want to close more and give up that coinage, okay? That's another story, y'all. The Walking Company is going bankrupt. So, but this is affecting, when you think about middle class, homes, you know what I'm saying? People, like you're saying, you want to make America great again, but at what cost? Because now we're talking about they can't keep up with some of the regulations that are happening, the taxes and things like that. We think about, oh my gosh, for the tax breaks that other companies are getting or the very wealthy are getting. Mm-hmm. These companies can't keep up with it because these are very specific and unique retailers. People don't always buy toys year round. Right. So when you go to Toys R Us, it's always an occasion, right? It's like Christmas, a birthday or whatever, but it's not always an everyday thing. Right. Because a lot of those things are being moved to your Amazons and things like e-commerce. So it's almost like when we had a conversation about Blockbuster and Redbox. Who put Blockbuster out of business? Technically, they put themselves out of business. They didn't keep up with the change. You got to keep up with the change, and you have to figure out a way to partner. So in this, what do we think? Is our way of living going to change if 200 Jared and Zales go out of business? Are people going to start buying diamond rings off the internet? Like, how's this going to work?
Everything's being purchased on the internet, right? How often do we, for certain, maybe you live at certain boutiques online looking at certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Because I just can't go to the store sometimes.
But it's convenient, right? It's really concierge shopping, right?
It is, because you know what you're gonna get, and they make it so easy. You don't worry about a line. You don't worry about traffic. You don't worry. You just go swipe your credit card and just
Not even and nowadays you can get free shipping.
And free return. That's an incentive. I don't have to waste my gas.
To expand the conversation even more,
I got a whole family.
H&M is closing 1,100 stores worldwide. 1,100, like 400, like 300 is in the
U.S. Yep.
In the U.S.
This is happening, people.
JCPenney is closing 60 stores.
Who?
JCPenney's closing 60 stores and 2 regional. This is really happening.
JCPenney, that's my Nana favorite store.
Listen,
Nana.
But you got to realize JCPenney was the second longest standing department store in the country, behind Sears.
Yep.
And so this e-commerce, while it's good and it's working, we have to look at how it's putting people out of jobs. You know, the unemployment rate is, I don't care what this administration says, the unemployment rate is abysmal right now, right?
It is because you have to figure out, like I said, as a big retailer, you have to figure out, okay, how can we keep up? We need to have a team. We need to have some type of people coming in and saying, listen, this is what we need to do. This is how y'all need to transition really quickly, you know, to make this happen. And some of these people in your company might need, if they have technical skills, you need to start figuring out who in your company is good at these things that can keep, you know, like you have to
groom them to stay employed.
To stay employed.
Absolutely.
You have to now.
You have to have transferable skills. That's something. Transferable skills. That's our word of the day, people.
Transferable.
Shout out to
skills.
transferable skills.
Shout out, because if you
are a necessity.
You have to know how to do more than one thing. Okay, now there's some other stuff going on too that deals with business, and it deals with the dichotomy of business, right? So as you know, as an African American woman, I'm considered a double minority, right? I don't think I'm minority, but I know I'm major. But I'm considered a double major. But but I'm considered a double minority, and in business, especially in corporate environments, it's a lot to walk through a corporate environment and try to evaluate how you fit in to those environments, especially when you know that you're one of a few there. Interesting story that was put out this week said about this: a study, women with natural hair have low self-esteem. The article highlights a lot of issues. Now listen to this. They're saying that women with natural hair have low self-esteem. They highlight the issue. They highlight is that in business environments, the natural hair is not embraced, and so therefore a lot of women are maybe natural, but they can't wear their natural to their place of employment. So they have to do a lot of things to cover up their naturalness because it's not to fit in. It's to fit in. Yeah. We recently saw that in 2016, the Supreme Court ruled that a company cannot. You don't have to hire someone with natural hair. Yeah. You have the option of declining them an opportunity at work based on dreadlocks and twists and braids. Right. This is a real Supreme Court case, and it is real. So as African American women, we always have to think about how we're presenting ourselves. A conversation I would have with my husband, and he would say, "Well, babe, why don't you just do this?" I'm like, "You don't." Didn't get it. He didn't get it. He was like, "Why don't you just wear your house?" But I cannot. I said, they haven't told me that. But when I do come, when I'm off of vacation and my hair is braided, the questions start coming. Right. I said, it makes you feel uncomfortable. Is that all your hair? You know dang on well, this is not all my hair, because it wasn't like this before I went on vacation. Like, it's that conversation. Right. Or, looking, want to touch and whatever, it just puts you in a very uncomfortable position, because we are a very unique race, and we're very different in shade, color, texture of hair, personality. We're not all the same. Heck, like we talked about, we're all not from Africa. Is not a continent. I mean, Africa is not a country. It's a continent with several countries. Right. And so we all are from different places. We're all not hailing from the same place. So everyone's hair doesn't curl the same way. Right. And I love this article for the fact that it points out the thing that said the business norms is what makes it difficult. They didn't say it like that, but I'm saying it. It's the business norms that make it difficult. It's the corporate culture. It's the majorities that are looking at, the differences of how we carry ourselves and groom ourselves and make it unacceptable. Right. As an African American man, he could not go to Chase with a beard like that. It's just not what they do, because that's not considered business. But, and it has a lot to do with what those in majority are comfortable doing with their own hair. Right. So we have to think about that fuels the straightening of the hair, that fuels the wigs, weaves, whatever, although we like it. I mean, I like it because I like versatility, right. But to feel like you don't have an option otherwise. And then this article, I just think the title of the article is interesting because they really focus on the stressor of not being able to wear your hair the way you want to, because it comes with so much. Right. So I don't think low self-esteem was the right words, but I think it's more of I can see the stressor. Right. Of it being a stressor.
The title, I do believe is clickbait.
Definitely clickbait, but
it makes you want to click to see what's going on, and it's a really good article. But it's the great conversation that's also been expanded. Teaching at an HBCU for a few years. Dreadlocks is the culture now, and
especially with men.
Especially in men, it's African American men. Dreadlocks are the culture, and there are some really nice ways to wear your hair, and dreadlocks. You know, this kind of wild afro that's kind of, you know, I don't even know what it's called. Kind of wild up top, but it's really edged and really clean looking.
Nice
It looks really, really nice. But it's one of those things that because we are dealing with a subtext of a subculture, we have to deal with conforming. You see what I'm saying? A good friend of mine who works in pharmaceutical sales, he was approached by he was doing real estate at the time, and he was approached by a real estate firm, and he had this was in the early 2000s, so he was like wearing his goatee and everything, and the guy told him, he said, "Listen, you have everything I need, but there's one thing that's different between us." He said, "Come here." He took him into a room, and he said, "What do you see that's different?" He said, "He's a millionaire. He's a millionaire." He started pointing out all these millionaires. The only thing that was different besides them being black and white,
facial hair,
was they were clean shaven. He said, "So if you're going to work with me and for me, you have to cut that off." And it's one of those things that,
but that's real because I
you,
dealt with it.
It's one of those things that we have to, and I don't know how, but we have to change the narrative or change the idea that success actually has a physical look, because it doesn't.
It does not.
Why is it okay for tech companies to have all these millionaires come to school, come to work in cargo shorts and flip flops and V-neck T-shirts and hats?
I'll tell you
right. But and you know what I'm saying, they choose to come this way, right? But the way my hair grows out of my head, I have no choice on on whatever the texture I was born with, right? Or whatever brother or sister. You know, obviously you want to keep it as neat as possible, but even to that, it grows a certain way. So why am I penalized for something I cannot control when it is when it's something you can control in a different sector? You know, is accepted. It's so backwards to me.
Well, the thing is that you think about the persons that you are referencing. A lot of those people are considered the invisibles. So those are people that make the magic happen. Those are not the people you look at every day. And I think that because we are already as a culture, as a community, as a race, we're already very much a focal point because we look so different. We're so different. Like we're so different in so many different ways that it's easy to tell someone to change to conform to look like the majority versus us accept you for your differences. Normalizing this is happening because, we're having more and more men with the beards. We're having more and more women with their natural hair, but you have to find a place that will accept it. Yeah. That's the hard part.
Because if you go to DC, dreadlocks everywhere in corporate America because that's the culture out there. Right. But here in conservative Texas, or you go to conservative Alabama, right, or somewhere like that, conservative Ohio. It's a different thing, and I think it's a balance because again, I remember those years that I was working at that particular company. He was like, "Why don't you?" I was like, "I cannot." He kept. I was like, "I don't understand." I was like, "I cannot." I was like, "Babe, I cannot wear my hair like that." I said, "I understand. It's dope. You right. I would love to do that." I said, "But I know who I know who I work with." She scrolled down the Cut Life on the gram and said, "I love." I'm like, "Yo, get it, go, let's go."
I was like, "I can't go to work like that." I said because I work with a lot of people, these geologists and all this stuff. They not for that. They're not for that. And so you have to know your audience too. And I think a lot of times that's something we need to really share with our younger generation. Know your audience and know who you're dealing with, because they're being the Stokely Carmichaels and all those persons. They're coming with this is who I am. Embrace me, respect me, because I am credentialed and I have it. And but you don't have it here. Which rolls us into our next topic, because it's access and opportunity. The young man here in Houston who got 20 scholarships to the top schools, he can full rides to everything, plus money, and I was saying
over $1 million worth of scholarships.
Over $1 million, amazing. Amazing. And I was like, we don't expect anything different, because African Americans historically are very smart, but we just need to have access and opportunity, right? He goes to Lamar, which is a very great school, you know what I mean? And we all can't go to Lamar, right? We all can't, all our parents can't live in an area where all our parents can't move to certain school districts to make sure their kids and that's what it's about. It's that whole game. Like, you move to a district that has the great educational system, so your kids can have an opportunity and access to get these opportunities to get into great schools so they can have a better education or whatever. We don't expect to hear anything different about black guy magic, black girl magic. We don't expect anything different. I think it's interesting that it was on every news cycle, as if, I know we don't hear about it enough, but Black people are smart. I just want to say that.
I mean, absolutely facts, right? I mean, it's 100% facts.
Straight up facts.
We just don't have access.
This room is probably 2, 4, 5. It's probably 13, 18 degrees in this room right now. You know, in terms of educational success. You know, when you look at historically, you look at civilizations like at Kush. You look at civilizations Timbuktu, the libraries at Kush. The mathematics was born out in Timbuktu, right? Like you know, these are all African nations and African cultures where what's it called? Anatomy was first done in Central Africa, right? You know, the study of the body. These are the things, you look at the Egyptian culture and everything they did mathematically and with science. These are the things like Socrates and Plato. They all came and studied from the scrolls that were found at the libraries in these East African and West African civilizations. You look at the money that we generated, Mansa Musa. You look at all of these great kings and queens, right? And to have the narrative, it pisses me off, and I'm going on a tangent because it had to have the narrative that we do not and we cannot succeed is an absolute farce, and it's utter bull, man. Ooh, I was about to say something else. It's utter bull, though.
Keep it clean. It's a family show.
Yes, a family show. It's utter bull, and I'm frustrated. I knew a person who in the class of '99, Katori Hall, who had the same thing, had 42 scholarships nationwide, over $2 million worth of scholarships. She went to 3 Ivy League schools for free.
Wow.
I know a lot. I have a lot of stories like that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But it's so interesting because just recently, it's so funny that he mentioned that. I don't know. I'm just going on, just jumping on anytime, Stephanie, because we'll start talking about stuff and we get really emotional about it.
Oh no!
But the flip of that is going back to my status as an African American woman, about how competitive it really is when you get to these higher echelons of education, and they want you to prove and reprove that you're worthy. And sometimes having too much credential will close a door on you. And I experienced something like that just recently. You know, I was challenged with, well, why would you, with your legal background and all these accolades, even want to do this? And it was like, because I had this background, well, you're not necessarily as in need as these other people, so you go to the bottom of the list.
Right.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. Where they do that at?
Where they do that at? So you don't want me in my whatever,
right,
to grace your halls or whatever, because I have too much. I'm not needy enough. I can't be the story. I'm not the face story now.
Right.
I was the face story 15 years ago when I was trying to plow my way up to this top, but now I'm not the face story anymore. Now I need to have something else. Now I need to add a little bit more dollars and commas to my name for me to be a face story here. Like, it's really an interesting dynamic, because people really don't understand, you know, that twice as hard to get twice as less type thing. You really are working hard just to get the recognition, and you're just due for doing something that you did because you had the passion for it, like the social butterfly agency.
And that's one of the things that I admire about, like, even us, you know, creating access and opportunities. Like, what good is it going to do for me to, you know, withhold my resources or information or people that I know? I always tell people, nothing that I have is just for me. Not my family, not my friends, nothing. Not my car, you know. But when we,
it's a nice car now. Hold on, may want to keep that.
A little fancy.
What I mean is, what I mean is about sharing and being, you know, when you
It's so
have
funny
the
you mentioned that.
What?
No, keep going. It's so funny that you mentioned
when you
that.
have the ability and the opportunity to create access for people, to create that open doorway for somebody, to create opportunities. That's one of the things that I love. Again, going back to my client, who she started off as my coach and my mentor, and with her annual event each year, Win Rock Rule is about where access meets opportunity. She puts people, the speakers that she has are not, what does she say? They're not celebrities, they're authorities. And they're people that you may not ever have the opportunity to be in a room with outside of this. But she brings these women together. You know, we had Janae Ingram was the keynote speaker, who was a co-founder of the Women's March, you know, an unassuming boss, and is just doing major things. You know, representatives from Unilever and just all these different organizations and company who, these are the people that you really want to know.
The people that make it happen.
And so she put all these people together in this space and provided an opportunity for people to have access to them and to engage with them, to connect with them in a, in an organic environment, and to see where there was some synergy, what resources and opportunities they individually had within, their different respective companies. And so the access and opportunity, even what you guys are doing here, allowing me, the opportunity to come on the show, that's access, that's opportunity. So I think that's one of the things that we as African Americans really have to do better with. I think, we're getting there slowly but surely, but we have to realize, like, we can all win. We can all win.
It's
if we would
room
just
for everybody at the table.
It's room for everybody. And if there ain't no room, just bring your own chair.
Bring your chair.
And sit in the room.
and sit in the room. Exactly. You may not be at the table, but just be in the room.
Listen, I will walk into a room and listen all day.
Ear hustling.
I'm ear hustling.
Do? She gleaned from the field.
She gleaned.
She chilled.
She wasn't
She just
invited
said,
to the party,
I'm just
technically.
going to glean from the field. It did it, but eventually, what happened? Come on now.
Boaz told him, y'all purposely dropped some stuff.
So she can make sure she get her fill.
Yeah.
I'll make sure she
was in the room.
And he told him, don't give her the scraps. Give her the good stuff.
Give her the stuff. You don't give her the leftovers.
At the table, be in the room.
Always be ready for the opportunities, right? You always have to be ready for the opportunities. I think that's something that here, one of the things I think everyone at this table or even in the room can attest to, that you have to prepare yourself. One of the things we do, we always have a state of the marriage address, and we always talk about our plans for the quarter and what we're going to do, or for the year or whatever. And we talk about, how we're going to tackle certain things, whether that's, our trips and conferences we need to be at. We need to be places to make sure we're staying lockstep with what's happening on, with the persons that we need to connect with on a creative level, on a business level. It's all the things we want to do, but it's not always going to be where you are. Right. And a lot of times people want people to bring it to them. You have to go to where it is.
Oh yeah.
And you have to invest into it, right? You have to invest into your purpose. So that's one of the things we advocate here, as a company, as individuals at the Sphere. We advocate bringing it, we want to bring it to y'all, but you also come to it as well.
Right.
You have to come to it. I had a little funny that I wanted to close the show with. I don't know. I think it's funny to me.
Go ahead.
Stacey Dash dropped a congressional campaign. I didn't think it was serious anyway.
I don't care.
She was really going to try to run for Congress.
Like, stop.
Stacey.
Like, she really was. She
Stacey.
really was on the campaign trail.
We didn't believe you
like
in the beginning. So
like, just
clueless.
It's okay.
Clueless.
Like
one clap for the clueless.
We didn't believe you. I think you're a beautiful woman. You're a very beautiful woman. But I think that you actually, I don't necessarily know who you're following.
She ain't got no friends. She has no friends. She has no true friends.
I'm not even gonna say she doesn't have
because
friends. She probably
true friends will roast you. Say, what? I don't care about your money, your success, your fame. What are you doing?
I'm gonna challenge you on. She doesn't have any friends. She has friends that think like her.
I said, well, they ain't true friends then.
Well,
no, yes, they are. They true. They like-minded. They are like-minded,
and they are like-minded, and
that ain't no true friend.
Well, babe, they don't know that they're on the wrong.
I challenge her ability to be able to create relationships. Because that's groupthink, man.
Well, she don't know what groupthink is. How would she know what groupthink is? Okay.
You're right.
You don't know no groupthink, babe. That's a higher level of. But the thing is, I'm glad that you're backing out a congressional campaign. Yeah, because I don't think that space is for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that space is for you because, political spaces is just not for everybody. And I think you're great if you want to continue. If the people if they want to invite you back to Fox for some commentary, great. If you want to do that, but the whole campaign is not for you. You don't. First of all, you have to have. I don't know what your financial status is, but you have to have a lot to keep that going. Right. Because you have to be a lot of places and do a lot of things and say a lot of things
be able to
and
raise
agree.
Money.
I mean, it's a lot that goes into that. So I'm glad that, she made this. It was a wise decision on whoever made the decision for her, whether it was herself or her team.
That was a smart move. Maybe
it was a smart move. It was a smart move. And I think with that smart move, we're just happy that.
I don't believe it.
This is, this won't be the end of Stacey Dash. This is, she will.
Is she going to try to come back like Omarosa did and try to come back to the fold? I'm sorry. I'm done. I don't even.
We try. So
these chicks out here tripping, man.
So we're so thankful that y'all tuned into this episode of Society Now. We will see y'all. No, we thank you for tuning in for this episode of Society Now. We're grateful for our guest that was in the building today from the Social Butterfly Agency, Stephanie Ferris, who's bringing it for her and her clients. I love it. I think y'all need to connect with her. You keep in touch with her. She is always on the move doing some amazing, amazing things for the world. For sure she is.
How can they connect with you, Steph?
You can connect with me on social media, Instagram at the Social Butterfly Agency, and that's TheSoulCial Butterfly Agency. On Twitter at Soul SOULB Fly FLY, and then on Facebook at the Social Butterfly Agency as well.
Give me your website.
And my website, www.thesocialbutterflyagency.com.
It's a dope site, by the way.
And I just want Twitter to not try to regulate how many characters we put on our names too.
I'm tired of
I
it.
just I had to abbreviate mine too. I was like, I need you not to try to regulate my situation on my name.
They regulate.
I was like,
Regulators,
mount up.
Mount up.
And then my handsome co-host.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know what it is. Get at your boy on social media at SeniorWapo713, SENORGUAP 0713. Holla at your boy
On all platforms.
That's right.
On all platforms. And we will see you next Monday on Society Now.